only being done since that software was available, although I'm
Yeah.
sure prior to that they had some way of tricking images or things like that.
A lot of the rights to those here in America, and they're going to start making some of those into films, and that's
Day. So if you're one of those people who kind of offsets your lack of sleep by coffee,
Fears and phobias. So a lot of people have a lot of different phobias and fears and stuff. And as far as I know, I don't think I'm scared of anything. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 6 of Two Couch Talk. We have made it to episode 6. This is 6 weeks in a row that we've been recording this, which is an accomplishment in itself.
absolutely.
We're very proud of ourselves. We're very proud of the growth that we've seen on the channel, and we like to thank every subscriber, every person who's liked the video, every person who's going to subscribe. Like, we appreciate you, and we're trying to make this, our job, and it's slow, but we'll keep working at it until it happens.
thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So like, comment, subscribe, the whole 9. Let us
Exactly.
know what we can do to improve it. Let us know if there's any information we gotten wrong and you would like us to even elaborate a little more on it. I mean, just without a doubt, talk to us. We'll
Yep.
talk back to you guys.
Give us some suggestions for topics that you want us to discuss on the show, and I think that's it. So we're gonna jump right into it.
Let's do
Today
it.
we got Alex Busta with us today, and
Hey, guys.
then obviously Gavinci Raw. We have him, and then me, Jared Mannche,
Hey.
and we'll all be your talk show hosts today.
Yeah, let's make it happen. Let's do it.
All right, so since I'm your host today, I'm going to be starting off the discussion with my first topic. And my first topic is going to be, does Photoshop in magazines give a bad idea of what a ideal human being looks like?
Okay.
All right.
And is this your controversial or just
This
your...
is my controversial.
Okay, controversial. All right. Does Photoshop give false perception of what human beings should look like and or be?
Yep.
10 minutes begins now.
Well, that's a great topic, because that's one of those things that has been, only being done since that software was available. Although I'm
Yeah.
sure prior to that they had some way of tricking images or things like that to make them look a certain way. But as far as talking about how does that enter into the way that people are meant to feel about themselves, or how they see they should look, I definitely think it's a detrimental thing. More often than not, Photoshop's used to create this super idealized image of, here's a woman.
Yes.
What do they do with Photoshop? A woman should have large breasts, curvy hips,
No cellulite. no-
perfectly clear skin,
Yes.
and blah blah blah. And this goes out to people looking at these ads or whatever the photos are in, and making them think, oh well, wow, I don't have perfectly clear skin, my boobs aren't as big as this lady's, and start to feel down about themselves because of all these things that industry is telling them. Hey, this is important, and this is what you need to have to be considered a solid woman, or a solid person, a solid athlete, depending on what the subject is. And people look at themselves and be like, well, I'm not that, so what am I now?
Yeah.
Exactly. And then the reality of it is just like your imperfections, especially you women, hear me out. Your imperfections is actually what makes you beautiful, and what makes you unique, and then what makes you you. So just because those are images that are perfectly made and perfectly done doesn't mean that they're real, because they're absolutely not. I actually own Photoshop, so I know exactly how to alter and manipulate photos, but it's something that is not realistic. It's like there's nothing wrong with a woman having a little bit of cellulite. There's nothing wrong with a woman, or even man, having stretch marks or anything like that. It's just you as a human being. That's what makes you unique. And once we get out of that perception or image of if this perfection's a realistic thing, it's not ever going to happen. Heck, I even one of my favorite quotes of all time is "There's no such thing as perfect." So I mean, like, let's just be realistic with things like that. There's nothing wrong with having some minor imperfections. Like I said, it's what makes you unique as an individual, and it makes you who you are. So there's nothing wrong with that. Like, love yourself for who you are, and don't let anyone else lie to you and say that you have to be this to be something that's more real, something that's a little more important to society, or this fake image that people are trying to hold on to. Your Instagrams, your Facebooks, your Twitters, those are all things that are manipulated, and those are all things that are not 100% real. A lot of people fake those just so that way they look cool, or so that way they seem different or unique. Just be yourself.
Yeah, it's not as I don't know. I've seen a lot of like stories or YouTube videos about people not feeling let's see, like, I don't know, they don't feel like right inside their own body, like they don't like how their body looks, because they see all these other girls that, or other guys that, go to the gym or do this, and then when they post a picture, maybe they'll touch up the skin a little bit, or maybe add a little bit more contouring on the abs, or shrink the waist down a little bit, or maybe, like, I don't know, like move the hips out a little bit. Like, it's very minor, but it makes such a huge impact on especially the younger generation when they're like just going through puberty and they're trying to they're like, oh man, I really want to look like this person, but it's just not realistic.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's definitely a good goal to try and work towards that, because that is what the magazines and like TV shows and commercials and stuff, they're trying to put out the perfect image of this person, whoever is on the cover.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a great goal to try and work towards that, but it's not realistic to ever, I don't know, make it to there.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that stuff like that would be less impactful if every single person, every 7-8-year-old girl who looked at the cover of a beauty magazine or something like that knew for a fact that, wow, this person looks great, they look perfect, this is not a real picture.
Yeah, I think I don't know if any magazines do this, but what would be great is if on the cover or in the pictures they're like, this has been altered by Photoshop, like a little like disclaimer.
Yeah, a little asterisk or something.
Yeah,
specifying.
like at the bottom, like hey, this has been altered by Photoshop, or
that would be
so
great.
That way people don't get the wrong idea that like, oh, this is an actual person that's walking around.
Yeah, it gives the false
Right.
perception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen any ads for the clothing company American Apparel?
I mean, I'm sure I have, because I've heard the brand before.
So their ads are all really interesting, because at least the last time I saw them, I don't know if this is still true, but they don't pick idealized models for their clothes. They pick people who have blemishes, imperfections, things like that. And in their ads, they don't really clean all that stuff up, which I think is really smart on their part, because they're all about more comfortable clothes, t-shirts, casual stuff.
Yeah.
And for a clothing company that makes that kind of stuff, to say, here's our models look just like you. They're not glassy skin. They don't have the perfect hair where everything's placed just right. These are clothes for regular people.
Yeah.
Here you go. This is what they look like on a regular person. This is what they will look like on you.
Exactly. And I think a lot of other clothing companies should try and follow in their footsteps, or they should do I know a couple of clothing companies, they do like plus size models,
Yeah.
where it's just like bigger people that will put on the clothes, because a lot of, when you go like window shopping or something, you're just walking around the mall and you see mannequins. There's not a big mannequin standing in the window, so you see all these like thin, mannequins standing there with the thin clothes on, and all of the bigger people in the world, which is growing,
which is a huge number.
Yeah, which is a huge number of the population that can't fit into those clothes, they're like, oh, I don't know how I'll look in that. So trying to, I don't know, be more like all encompassing of all body types.
Sure. And I know that you have like specialty clothing stores, like places like Big and Tall or Lane Bryant, or
Yeah.
they cater to that.
places like that. And for that, it's just basically a choice of the company, what business they want to have, and do they want to cater to everybody? Do they want to only cater up to a certain size? Do they only want to cater beyond a certain size? So I mean, it's good that at least those other kinds of stores exist, because someone can walk into one and see mannequins that look closer to what the body type that they're used to, and things like that, and know that okay, well, like I don't feel weird about shopping here because it doesn't look like everything was made too small for me on purpose. Like,
Exactly.
I can be comfortable here.
Yeah.
So this question to you guys: why do you think companies cater to that specifically? Like this false image of perfection. Why do they specifically choose that?
I think
Because it's more idolized, or is it more like just because it's more attractive to our eyes, or things of that nature?
we're very big,
Very
our,
vain.
Our brains are very associative, so it makes it to the point where if, let's say, you walk by Victoria's Secret, and all of their images that are up are of these beautiful women who are totally flawless, and all this and that.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is the mindset that they're instilling in people. Well, I don't look exactly like this woman, but if I brought that bra that she's wearing, I would look closer. I would
That's a
look
good point.
closer to that.
Yeah. If I get that Buff Guys T-shirt, I might look muscular too, so I should try for that. That's a good. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good marketing tactic.
There's
Exactly.
in any ad, there's such a huge amount of time, money, research that goes into this, because you're flipping through a magazine, you're gonna come across a full page ad for half a second if it doesn't catch your eye immediately.
Yeah.
And so there's entire teams of people and huge sums of money being spent to figure out how to keep you from turning past that page immediately, how to make it effective, how to ingrain it in your mind.
Oh, that's it, gentlemen. Would any of you like to use your 5 minutes to continue this?
No, I'm good.
I'm okay.
All right, we're
I
good.
think we discussed that one.
Yep.
All right, so that was, does Photoshop give people the wrong image of what an ideal body it should be like?
Should be like.
It was a good topic.
It's a good topic. So, especially ladies, I'd really love to hear you guys just comment on it down below. Let us know how you guys feel about it personally, because I know, truth be told, men are just kind of dismissive about things like that, but I know that really does affect women, because a lot of women are really worried about their perception of their body. So please comment below. If you see us in person, discuss it with us. We love to talk. All right.
Clearly.
Yeah. All right, so that was it for my topic. We're going to move over to Alex Busta,
All right.
and we're going to get into his topic. So, Alex, what would your topic like to be?
All right, guys. So my topic for today is not really controversial, but I guess it could be depending on where you stand on the whole thing. My topic today that I wanted to bring up is movies, like current movies and the trends that we're seeing in them in relation to, there's been 20 Marvel movies made in the last 10 years. And well, I don't want to get too into it before we get started, but just kind of movie making trends, and let's call it a lack or a disappearance of original ideas.
Okay. So, original ideas in movies. Let's discuss. 10 minutes starts now.
So one of the things that I wanted to bring up, that's, I still don't really know 100% how I feel about it, but we've got all these Disney movies now that were classics made however long ago, animated, of course, and now we have the technology and the opportunity to do these live action versions of them. So, you know, there's a
Mhm.
live Lion King coming
Yeah.
out. The Aladdin movie just came out.
Shout out to Will Smith.
They did Beauty and the Beast,
Yeah.
and people are going kind of
Cinderella.
back and, yeah.
It's coming out. Yeah.
And people are going really back and forth on a lot of these things because some people are saying like, yeah, no, it's awesome to see another version of it. You know, the Lion King with actual lions. Like, let's face it, that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
But then you have the other side of the camp, which I find myself in sometimes, which is, okay, that's great. You got my money for the Lion King 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same story.
Mm-hmm.
So the cinematography, the filmography, everything like that is going to be, you know, cutting edge and very different and everything like that. But I'm not getting a new story. Disney's recycling right now.
I was gonna say to play devil's advocate to them. I agree with what you're saying, but why change the formula when it already worked once and people are falling for it again? To do, because the only way to really make these people truly stop doing those things is to literally not go see it. Because if you hurt them in their pockets,
Correct.
then they're gonna say, "Oh shit, we got to change this now because clearly it's not working." Because hell, even they're going to anime, you know, because you're sure, but they're actually taking a lot of those ideas and they already bought a lot of the rights to those here in America, and they're going to start making some of those into films, and that's supposed to be like the next trend that's coming up soon. Because right now it's the next trend for besides superhero movies is monsters, big monsters. They're pushing for that, which is Godzilla just released. Good movie, I enjoyed it. But you know, and then that's the other one. So it's like, yeah, you're absolutely right. There's no original ideas at the moment because it's like, why do it when you could just recycle it and make millions off of it, where it's just like an easy topic. You just got to pour some money into the visuals, and it's like that's all you up. But the story's already pre-written, so all you got to do is just reenact it.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So I'm kind of on the fence about seeing really any of the new movies, just because I like grew up watching those old Disney movies,
Yeah,
and I just, you know, I love them to death. Like, I'll still watch them to this day.
Sure.
agreed. Yeah,
And
yeah. Those are the
I
movies
don't-
I want to like show my kids the original ones I seen,
exactly.
Yeah.
and then tell them like this is the way the movie was, not that you're you know
Exactly.
not that.
And it's just, it's just the way that the world works. I mean, it just keeps moving forward, and we're kind of stuck in place where we're like, oh man, we don't want it to change. Like, we want it to stay the same how it was.
So you're saying maybe
So-
possibly have an open mind?
No, because I don't want to go see the movies.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna
I
go see
don't-
those. Honestly,
Fair
I don't
enough.
want to go see Lion King. I think the concept behind it is really cool, making it all live action.
Yeah.
And I like the idea, and I applaud the animators and the visual effects artists that go through the work of doing all of the stuff that they need to do to make those movies as realistic as possible.
Yeah.
mm-hmm. Which
But I
is a ton of
still
time and effort.
Don't want to like ruin the image of what I have Aladdin or Lion King in my head.
It's kind of like, you know, some things have to be sacred. You can't.
Exactly.
There's
And
some
Yeah.
things that maybe should not be tampered or messed with. And you know, them doing the remakes is not saying that the originals are gonna go away, but it is sad to think that a 6-year-old right now is going to remember the live action Aladdin as Aladdin, and I still remember, you know,
Yeah, well,
Robin Williams being
exactly.
the genie.
That's what I was
Yeah.
just about to
and-
say. I was like, people don't, you know, Robin Williams movies are getting kind of old now. I mean, he died a few years ago, so a lot of the newer generation don't know
Rest in
who
peace.
he is or know like what he did, and now they're gonna be like, oh, Will Smith's the genie.
Well, and that's and the not knowing about Robin Williams is a whole crime on its
Oh,
own, on its own
absolutely.
part.
Absolutely. But
But-
it's
but
just
still,
tough.
yeah,
Like
it's-
it's just tough to see. Like, I mean, it's just like old TV shows when we were talking about it, where it's like, you know, Teen Titans back when I was a kid,
Wow.
and like the
Yeah.
original Teen Titans, and then now they have Teen Titans Go, and that's what kids today think Teen Titans is. Like,
Mhm.
they don't know the original. They don't know
That's the perception
the
on.
action or the drama behind it. They're just like, oh, here's just a few like funny skits in an episode. and there's not
Right.
really a story built on it.
Well, I was gonna say,
It's-
do you guys think it's the nostalgia factor is what's really affecting our perception on this? It's like we're being that bias where it's like, nah, the original's way better, so of course I'm not gonna pay any mind to this instead of having an opening mind and giving it a shot. Or is it just clearly we can understand good writing on a show or movie and see that this is so well written, just like you said, there's something sacred where you just don't want to tamper with that.
Well, I mean, it's hard to say too. Like, the nostalgia factor definitely is a big
Yeah.
part of it because we all remember and love what we remember and love from our childhoods. But take like, you remember they made that movie Maleficent with Angelina Jolie, right?
Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
Did you guys ever see it?
I did not see it.
did not see it.
Go check it out.
It's actually good.
It is. I thought it was great because what they did, they took a story that we all knew, but presented it from the point of view of an entirely different character. And to me, that's a good writing decision because one, they get to bring that classic story into a modern setting where you get to use modern graphics, modern technology to make it look visually as awesome as you can. And you're already familiar with the story, but they still had to do some work. They had to write a background for Maleficent. They had to show how she turned from, good to evil and the things that happened to her. And I thought that it was just a really unique approach for them to be able to do something like that. And they pulled it off really well.
See, that would be a really cool idea, like seeing
Like a twist on.
like Jafar's story.
Yeah,
Like it-
Scar.
Yeah, or like
Or-
Scar or
yeah.
something. Or I'm trying to think. I guess you could say Cinderella, but we kind of saw backstories of her sisters and everything.
Yeah.
Well, how about this?
see.
How about that they announced, I don't know if it's gonna go through with it, but they're gonna reboot Shrek.
Why?
It's not even unbooted.
Eh.
Yeah,
Ex-
is it?
Exactly.
the
That
fourth-
was my perception.
I think the fourth
and-
one was the last one,
yeah,
but
but yeah, they announced it. I think like a year ago, something like that they were already kind of starting the works of it, and I was like, why would you do that to this series? It's such
Exactly.
a unique
Well-
series.
Well, I always go by the quote, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's like that's all the old movies are definitely not broken.
Do you think a lot of times movie companies or filmmakers just try and ride out a particular idea just into the ground to squeeze
absolutely.
every penny out of it?
Shit, what was the man? There was one movie that I just saw that was like
Ghostbusters.
no, it was just a total cash grab. Like it was literally just they slapped the name on it, didn't put any effort into the movie, and just had people go watch it just because it was a part of that series.
Yeah, you'll have to try and remember what that is. 'Cause I'm
It's-
definitely
I mean,
curious.
I guess I could do like.
Was
I
it
guess you
Wreck-It
could even-
Ralph?
No, I guess you could say like I can't remember the exact one, but I know a lot of old Star Wars fans don't like the new Star Wars.
True.
Yeah.
And they were saying that when the episode 1, 2, and 3 came out,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
way back then.
Well, yeah, like 3 or 4, 5, and 6. They were like, oh yeah, this is awesome, and then they were like, why 1, 2, and 3? And then now we're like, why 7, 8, and 9? And all those old Star Wars fans that watched it in the theaters when they were kids growing up, like my parents or maybe your guys' parents too, were like, why? Like why would you do that? Like we know this to be
What? Yeah.
what it is. This is Star Wars right here. This is not Star Wars. Like that, it's just kind of a cash grab. It's just they're just slapping the name on it
And running with it.
and just calling it that just to make money.
Truth be told, I have not seen none of the new Star Wars. Like,
No,
just the fact that I'm not a fan of Star Wars whatsoever. Sorry, full disclosure. But I wouldn't go because I saw the original 3, and so I purposely was like, I'm not gonna watch the other ones because it's like, well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Would any of you gentlemen like to use your 5? No.
no, I'm good.
No. All right.
Not this time.
All right. So we are done with this topic.
All right,
Remakes and movies of that nature. Do you guys feel like it's just a cash grab? Which it's kind of obvious it is, but Do you think they should remake them? Do maybe a new twist on it, like that Maleficent movie? You guys feel like it's just leave it alone? What do you guys think?
If you guys have any good examples of ones that have been remade that are better than the original or anything like that, we'd love to hear them. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Terminator.
So that was Alex Busta's topic,
Yeah, thank you,
and
guys.
we'll be moving on to Gavinci Raw over here. He's got
Gavinci
his
Raw.
topic for the day.
All right.
And
So
what
this
would you
one,
like to talk about?
this one should be good because we kind of touched on it a couple episodes back. The opioid crisis here in America. Let's talk about it. And I'm just gonna leave it as general like that. See what you guys have to say about it. Let's begin.
All right. So as far as the opioid crisis, like people overdosing, just the presence of it, or how much there is around.
Just the presence of it, because I want it to be open ended. Because I'm gonna go to angle with it, but I still want you guys to kind of like have just a general open topic to where you could discuss anything from it.
Sure. Well, I don't think that you'll really see that go away until you see dips in big pharmacology companies. Pharmacology is the business of keeping people sick and treating the symptoms. If they get you better, you are no longer a customer. So
Wait,
Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, here, say it louder for the people in the back.
Yeah,
If
sorry, the
they
nosebleed didn't
get-
hear you.
if they get you better, they do not get your money anymore.
Exactly.
Exactly.
We talked about this in a previous episode where we were like,
Legalize weed.
no.
That was in that
Well,
episode.
Was it in that episode?
That was in that
Oh,
episode.
okay. I thought you were saying the topic. Never
No,
mind.
no, no.
So we were like, I was like, I'm sure the government's probably pretty close to a cure for cancer, but it's a lot more profitable to
Keep people sick.
to treat cancer than to just cure it.
Certainly. You know what a round of chemo costs?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like you get one and you're good.
Yeah.
It's an investment on keeping your body alive.
Exactly.
And they don't get those recurring payments if you die. So, don't worry, you're going to be kept alive in the strictest definition of the word alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're not, a lot of times you're not going to get cured because that's not their end game.
No, exactly. And it's amazing because the reason why I say it the way I did is because if you go back into the 70s and even 80s, they had the crack epidemic. That was one of those, like, it really affected the urban people,
Like the general population.
I would say more like ethnic groups were the ones who were more affected by the crack epidemic rather than like let's just say whites or things of that, or even especially like high class people in high class were not smoking crack or not. They were snorting coke.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah, that's
But-
the rich person drug.
Yeah, exactly. So, like during that time period, like all those people who were ethnic were really affected by that. And then now fast forward with all these big pharmaceuticals shoving it down people's throats because, I mean, like you go to a doctor and you're like, oh man, my arm is hurting me. Here you go. Bottle of pills. That'll cure that in a heartbeat. And it's like, it's not. It's just like a painkiller to help deal with your arm pain, which is bizarre because they didn't really do anything to try to figure out what's wrong with you to actually fix you, just like how Alex was saying. They just kept pumping more pills into you because it's like I've known people who have herniated their discs in their back and they're just going through tremendous pain, and so all they do is just feed them more and more and more and more more pills just to keep them going and going and going, just to keep that cash grab going, and they just never get better. Or even try to help them out, like, oh, here, let's send you to a physical therapist or someone who actually try to heal you. No. Here's a bottle of pills. This will cure you. And that's like the big thing now, where it's just like, oh, you're having problems sleeping? Here's some pills. Oh, you're having problems using the restroom? Here's some pills. It's like, I mean, I get it. I appreciate the advancements in science of medicine, but when you're doing it the wrong way just because it's for money, it's like that is just a unspeakable evil that clearly people are just ignoring. Because it's like, if we weren't ignoring this and actually putting it out there, like, hey, this is clearly killing people and this is clearly causing more problems, which that's why I said it was a crisis, because they are putting it in the news media. It's out there, but they're not. Nothing's happening. We're not doing nothing about it.
Well, I think it's people are kind of getting the idea, which happens quite a bit, is that it's just easier to deal with the problem than to fix it. It's just easier to live with that issue and just
Because we
I
can't.
don't know, just accept that truth and then try and fix it. And they're just like, this is going to be too much work to try and make everybody have a different viewpoint on it.
Right. And as I think as society too, we're unfortunately we're very much so about that quick fix.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Even
Absolutely.
if it's not a real fix, you know. And the biggest example I see most of the time is somebody pushes themselves late night, doesn't get to sleep until midnight, doing stuff that maybe they didn't even necessarily need to do. They could have spent the time sleeping, but no, instead I'm just gonna wake up at 4 and I'm gonna go get a coffee.
Yep.
I'm gonna get a cup of coffee instead of sleeping the right amount of hours that my body needs.
Yeah.
That's and that's one that people do every single day. So if you're one of those people who kind of offsets your lack of sleep by coffee, is there a reason why you're not trying to get that extra sleep, why you're not trying to fix your schedule and move stuff around? Or does it just seem super daunting to do all of that work, and a cup of coffee is $5, 5 minutes?
Yeah. Well, like I just did this myself. I got a little quick fix. Don't come after me. MVD, MDV,
DMV.
Motor Vehicles Department, MVD. Or DMV.
Or DMV.
Either one. Okay. But I had to go get my tags renewed here pretty soon. Or like just recently I renewed my tags.
Yeah.
And I was having a problem with my car where the O2 sensor would go bad, but then like just randomly it would just like start working again. Like no, I couldn't. I tried everything to figure out like a cause for it. Like I could recreate the circumstances and I just couldn't do it. So it was just like kind of random where it would turn off and turn back on, and it would pop up the check engine light, and then like I don't know, 3 or 4 days later I turn my car on and then the check engine light's off and it's working again, and then like a few days later it turns back off and then the check engine light pops on. So I was like, shit, I can't pass my emissions test if the O2 sensor is not working. So I'm like, okay, I got to go fix the O2 sensor. And I was going to do that, and then my check engine light turned off, and I was like, now's my chance. So I drove my ass to the emissions testing place, got it. They plug in the OBD2 sensor super easy because they're just scanning for codes. And I was like, well, as long as it doesn't pop up on my drive over there, I'll be okay. So they plugged in the OBD2 sensor. I passed. They gave me the thing. I renewed my tags, and we're all good. And like yesterday, I think the check engine light popped back on, and I'm like, hey, I'm good. I don't gotta fix it for another year. So another 2 years. Emissions test lasts 2 years. So I'm like, I don't got to fix it for 2 more years, so I'm okay.
That's a fantastic crime of opportunity, by
Dude,
the way.
it was just I saw it and I was like, I'm not missing this opportunity. I'm going. And I was praying as I was driving over to the emissions place. I'm like, swear to God, if this thing turns on, I'm going to flip my lid.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a good way to relate it. Is just like, ladies and gentlemen, Jared did it and made it happen. So it's kind of like he took the opportunity to make it happen. So it's like, in today's society, how far do we go before we finally say enough's enough ourselves? Because me personally, I do not take nothing. The only thing I might take is like an ibuprofen, and even then it's like very limited. I'm not one of those people who's like, I need a quick fix of like NyQuil so I can go to sleep, or like I don't even drink coffee, none of that. So it's just like I don't like putting substances into my body or things of that nature. And I think that the more natural your body is, it's more easier to compel and combat things that will attack your body. Because it's like, I mean, the caimans didn't have that, and then it's just kind of like what we were talking about in the last episode of natural selection, where like only the strongest survive, and that kind of helps deal with your internals too. And then putting stuff like that in you makes your body start thinking you need these to work correctly.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know one personally, but I know a couple stories of people with that are functioning alcoholics.
Yes.
Where they need alcohol to be like everybody else. Like if they don't, they have
vodka, ladies and gentlemen.
like if they don't, they have like withdrawal symptoms, just like people coming down off of like heroin do,
Sure.
where they need to take, you know, shots or like drink a cup of whiskey or something in the morning just to go on with their day. And it's not like they're drunk, it's not like they're tipsy or anything. That's just how they like, that's just what they need to go on with their day.
And they've been doing it so long, it's normal for them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so pulling it back to the original argument, like I definitely think if we're able to find ways to go around and fix the causes of those things that are going on that are the reason why these companies are manufacturing tons of pills, then we'll have a better shot.
Well,
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
it, ladies and gentlemen. Would either you gentlemen like to use your 5 minutes to continue this conversation?
No, I'm good.
No, all right. So that is the opioid. Oh, I mispronounced it. The crisis here in America with opium and all that good stuff that's like really messing us up. Please tell us what you think below. I mean, it's obvious, especially if it's gotten into public news and things of that nature. Let us know what you guys think about it personally. Heck, if you guys think there's any particular way we could fix it or even correct it, let us know. You know, we talk about this because, you know, we want the people to join us and even discuss this, and, you know, let's get this going. So anyways, that was my topic, and now we're back to Mannche.
All right. So thank you, Gavinci Raw, for sharing your topic. We appreciate it. And my second topic will be fears and phobias.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, fears and phobias starts 10 minutes now.
All right, so fears and phobias. So a lot of people have a lot of different phobias and fears and stuff. And as far as I know, I don't think I'm scared of anything. Like I'm pretty sure I've not come across one thing that I'm scared of, or like I get scared, you know, at like a jump scare or something, but I'm not like, oh, I'm not going to go see a scary movie because I know it's going to terrify me, or I'm not going to go on top of a building because I'm afraid of heights.
The scariest words of Mannche here, I'm late.
I'm late. I don't know. I just don't find myself having any phobias.
Ladies and gentlemen, that just means he hasn't seen enough yet.
All right.
Oh,
so
man.
do you guys have any fears and phobias?
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Heights.
Well,
I hate heights.
You hate heights?
Heights are the worst thing in the world.
See, I love heights.
Getting on a damn airplane is the worst. What do you do? What do you do if something goes wrong 30,000 feet in the air? You unbuckle your seatbelt, you bend over as far as you can, and you kiss your ass goodbye. That's pretty much it. But what I've found from a lot of the issues that I have a fear of heights, fear of drowning. Even though I know how to swim, I'm you know, perfectly good at that and everything like that. But I've come to find that just being like inwardly analytical, a lot of my fears and phobias stem from a lack of control. Situations where I cannot affect an outcome of something going very, very wrong, like flying in a plane. There's nothing I can do in that scenario to be the least bit helpful at
control. Yeah, making sure it doesn't happen.
Trying to make sure I don't die there. You know, that's why heights have always been a thing. Once you're off the edge, you know, what are you gonna do? You get a hit at the bottom and you're toast. So I have no control over that. And once you enter into those scenarios, that's when you lose all of that control. And I find for myself that's what really freaks me out, is not having any kind of handle on a situation.
That's funny you say that, Alex, because as a kid, I had a lot similar to phobias that you, or not fear, but fears that you had like that. And then as I got older, I lost a lot of them. Like I'm not scared of heights no more. I used to be terrified of it. Plane rides, used to be terrified of that. Like that was the thing, was like what you said, because I analyzed it and realized it's because I can't control the situation, where I'm always used to just being able to control everything I do, and these are the outcomes of it because of my actions, not the other way around. Was just the realization of that's literally life. Like there's nothing you could do to control that, because that's just like existing is a almost like a paradox in itself. Like, you know, it's just like the odds of you existing is astronomical, so it's a paradox in itself to even exist. And it's just like the idea of existence is only due to the fact that you exist. So otherwise, if you didn't exist, then existence wouldn't exist. Hey, just blew your mind real quick right there. Hey, but that's what, like, that's how I have overcame it even when I was a kid. And like now I'm not worried, scared of fears, nothing like that. Or, you know, I realize like what happened and what will happen will happen. There's nothing you could control about that. And once you like finally accept that true to be in your heart, it's like there's not really much that could scare you. So like to answer your question, like I don't really have much fears now. It's just more or less like I realize life's gonna happen regardless as to what I think and what I try to do. I do believe that fate can be altered and changed in some fashions, especially when you're like, I'm trying to have a career in music, or you know, like especially like career wise. That's a good point. And you want to be a YouTube sensation, or you want to do this or that. You just got to put the correct work and the right actions to start moving towards that direction. And if you don't do that, if you're a guy who just goes home, sits on the couch, and does absolutely shit all day, you're not going to get nothing from it other than shit. So it's just like the same thing with like the fears and that. Like if you don't do nothing to try to conquer those fears, they're always going to get you, create anxiety, and just manipulate you to the point where you can't do nothing, where it just paralyzes you. And it's just like after a certain point, it's just like you start realizing like, I don't want to live like that. Like, and that's what happened to me. Like, I don't want to live like that no more. I was always terrified of going on the second floor of a house, because I was worried I was going to collapse and fall through and get hurt, or anything like that. Like, you know, on a plane, it's like, oh, I do want to go to different states, but I got to drive. I hate driving. But, you know, especially being locked up in a car with like people, they're just yelling and screaming for 6 hours. Come on. Can you really want that? At least if you're in a plane, you're an hour or 2 hours and you hear people screaming, you're like, well, this is just for an hour. Just get on my phone and put on headphones and just forget the world exists. So that's just the way I looked at it. And that's just like how I personally try to conquer my fears and just like get over it. You know, not to like belittle what you're saying. I absolutely understand 100% what you're saying, because I completely went through that myself. But it's just like how I was able to try to overcome it, and hoping that maybe like this could actually help you out a little bit, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So I think the reason that I don't have any fears is because when I think I was 5, I was at a party, or my parents were throwing a party at my old house, and we had a pool, and all the kids were swimming. And the way our pool was set up is we had like a pool, and then the hot tub was raised, and then there was like a little waterfall that went into the pool from the hot tub, and we were jumping off from here into the pool, and we were just, you know, having fun. We were just stupid little kids.
Yeah.
And I was wearing one of those scuba masks that covers your eyes and your nose. And I had jumped in, and then another kid had jumped in on top of me and knocked my goggles down over my nose and my mouth. And then I like couldn't see, because I was just so used to having those goggles. So like I was trying to fix the goggles in the middle of the pool instead of like staying calm and swimming to the edge. So I actually like passed out and sank to the bottom, and then I was there for I don't know how long, but
Jeez.
one of my lifelong friends that's still my friend today went over to my mom, and they're on the other side of the hot tub, and I'm like down here, and the hot tub's blocking it, so they can't see me at the bottom of the pool.
Yeah.
So
it's almost like you could have got out of the pool and they just can't see you.
Yeah. So my friend went up to my mom and goes, "Jared's drowning."
Jesus.
And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, he's drowning." And he like points to the bottom, and she jumped in and pulled me up, and I wasn't breathing, like my heart had stopped, and she did CPR and brought me back, and then they called 911 and airlifted me to a hospital, and you know, here I am today. But I think that's why, is because like I already died once. Like if anything's gonna happen, you know, let it happen. Like if I die, you know, tomorrow, like there's nothing I can do about it. I think whenever, I don't know, like this is just me because I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian, you know, so I'm like, if God wants me to, if God's like, okay, your time's up tomorrow, then I can't fight it.
Yeah.
True enough.
So that's just me, is like I just kind of, I don't know, accept things for what they are. Like if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die.
Yeah. Fear. Ooh. fear is a really interesting thing too, just in the way that it like kind of has played out through our history. Fear is a survival tactic for that the brain uses. You know, you let's say you're a caveman and you watch this dude eat these berries and this dude dies. Well, you're probably afraid of those berries because you probably don't want to die.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. It makes sense that we have them about things, whether rational, irrational, large or small.
Yeah. So, well, I was going to throw this at you just because you said that made me think of it. Is fear something that human beings learn, or is it something that's just natural? Like our instincts?
It is learned behavior. Absolutely. That's why kids are fearless.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, because, you know, I seen kids grab a thing that most people are terrified to touch, like a bug or something that'd be considered poisonous. They don't know any better. You know, why would they?
Right. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have the knowledge of what could happen to fear.
Yeah, we see the consequences at the end of the tunnel where we're like, hey, if we do this and this, this could happen. Then we're like, oh, well, I'm not going to go do that then because I don't want that to happen.
We have too much that cause and effect mentality.
Yeah.
Whereas kids, they don't think that maybe that thoroughly or that linearly. They're just, ooh, hey.
Yeah.
Let me grab this.
Let me grab this. Or, hey, let me jump off this roof. I'll be fine. And then, my leg's broken. Why did I do that? It's like.
And then the next time the kid gets up on the roof,
probably
not going to jump.
Exactly.
Yeah. Got the fear.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, it's kind of it's interesting to talk about fears and like see other people's, you know, but I see a lot of people will get over their fears by going and doing exactly what they hate the most.
Yeah.
To conquer it. Yeah.
So like, I know a lot of people have a fear of heights. Like, I think that's one of probably the most common fears in the world is a fear of heights. So a lot of people.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of that. But I am actually going to use my 5 minutes to continue this.
All right.
So let's begin. 5 more minutes.
All right. So I'll keep going then. So a lot of people who are afraid of heights will actually go skydiving.
Yeah.
To get over it. Because.
Which actually I want to do. I want to go skydiving. Hey, if there's any companies out there, just, sponsor us. Go skydiving. Hey, just let us know.
But a lot of people will go skydiving because when you go skydiving for the first time, you are strapped onto an instructor.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, you call them like a professional.
Yeah.
And you're just harnessed in. They have the parachute and everything, and you're just along for the ride. But like, you know, that it's kind of, I don't know. I guess it's like what you said. You were like, you know, you don't like being out of control. It's like you kind of just gotta, I don't know, let that control go. Is what's the like underlying factor.
Yeah.
True. But and then you look at it too, and like, people are just the people they are.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I probably will maintain that fear throughout my life, not because I don't want to encounter it, but because I know that I am most comfortable at least having a amount of control where I can in certain situations. Obviously, I know that there's stuff that's going to happen that has nothing to do with anything that I'm doing. It has nothing to do with the outcome of it. I'm not saying that like people have control over everything, even a small amount, but I know what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so
absolutely.
if given a choice, like, I don't have a job where I need to get over my fear of heights.
True.
Or anything specifically that requires it. So I guess I would see it more anxious to put myself through it than it is worth. Maybe.
So, well, I'm going to put this out there like that.
Maybe.
Yeah. I'll say, what if people actually try to conquer their fear and by doing so, this ends up exacerbating it? Like, do you think that's possible?
Yeah.
Like, would say
I think so.
Yeah, like they go skydiving, in which case, you know, like I would love to go skydiving. That'd be great. But go skydiving, and then when they get finally to the ground, they're just terrified in fear. Like, I can't believe I did that, and I will never do that ever again in my entire life. Or even doing like a balloon ride, for instance. Like, people are afraid of heights. Like, that zero control. Like, if that balloon pops, you're gonna drop to the ground. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Yeah.
You don't got parachutes. You're effed. So like something like that. Like, do you think like that could just exacerbate it even a little more, even further than just what they trying to conquer it. Because with anything in life, it's like you gotta, you gotta face it face on. So it's kind of like you gotta want to do it. Whereas like if you're put in that situation where, like, let's say you fear spiders, and Alex and I love spiders, so we have like a little thing of a box of spiders, and we force you to put your hand in there, and we're like, no, you're gonna be fine, and we physically force you on it. Like, that's not gonna help your fear of it. It's gonna
you got to do it yourself.
Yeah, you gotta physically want to conquer it, because if you don't conquer it yourself in your own mind, it's not gonna help.
You're just being subjected to it.
Yeah,
at that point.
Yeah, so it's basically torture.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus like willfully, oh, I'm gonna do this because I want to make sure that everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's just I don't know, it's just hard. It's just hard. Like some people are afraid of everything, or afraid of germs. And those are kind of are life altering phobias.
Which is wild, because if you know anything about science or anything like that, then you know that every second human beings are breathing germs. Like right now, you and I have this conversation, germs are entering my body as we speak.
Yeah.
It's like there's just existing is a germ, it's just like there's nothing a way around it. Not to say that if you are, terrified of germs of that nature, we're trying to belittle you. It's just there's always a thought behind anything and everything that's a conceptually intelligent thought. Just you got to think about it sometimes. You try to break that box and try to look at it from a different angle that maybe someone else might look at it. Try to have an open mind about it sometimes. Maybe it might help you out, maybe it won't. Comment below, let us know. But but I agree with you. I agree with you. That's just like there's without a doubt fears and phobias that really dictate human beings' life.
And some of them are helpful. They keep us from doing things that could end super badly.
True. Yeah.
And some of them, like the germ one that you're talking about, can unfortunately just be such a hindrance in your life that you never end up living.
Exactly.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was my 5. Would you like to use your 5?
No, I'm good.
I'm straight.
All right, that is it.
That was phobias from Mannche. I think
Fears
that
and
was pretty
phobias?
good.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their fears and phobias, but you overcome eventually, or you just
succumb to them.
Succumb to them.
That's like the best way to put it. But without a doubt, we would love to hear you guys' fears, phobias, or any topic we discussed today. Feel free to comment below and let us know about it, and to even talk about it with us. We'd really appreciate it.
Yeah. So just a quick recap over the whole episode. We got me first. We did Photoshop, and is that presenting a bad body image for the younger people. Then we went to Alex Busta, and he was movies.
Yep.
And like, I don't know,
reboots and remakes and just
nostalgia.
Right.
And then we went to Gavinci Raw, and he had the crisis of opioids in America.
Absolutely.
And then we went back to me, and we had fears and phobias.
Yep.
So comment down below. Let us know, what you guys think on any of these topics that we talked about.
Yep.
If you have a different point of view, we'd love to hear it.
Absolutely.
We'll be reading the comments and responding to you if you ask us a question or anything. And that's it, guys. That's episode 6 right there.
Episode 6.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you back for 7.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week, Thursday, around 1 or 2.
Yep.
And hope you guys have a great day. Like, comment, subscribe,
and
hit the post notification bell.
Absolutely, and we will have our social media stuff in the description below. So if you want to look us up, we're in there. So there you go.
All right.
Of course. Thank you for watching.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys.
All right.
Peace, guys.
Peace.